Good morning, I'm Praram Vadahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Government announces contribution-based social security scheme that allows pension facilities to private company employees. Implementation aspect quite crucial. Department of Foreign Employment mired in irregularities and negligence. Service seekers having a hard time in receiving and extending labor permits. Lawmakers demand annulment of the license of contractors failing to move ahead development projects. Call to discourage the practice of selling license to others for reaping undue interests. And Real Madrid, Manchester City, United and Juventus progress to the knockout round of the UEFA Champions League. Bayern Munich, Roma and Ajax also in the last 16. Let us now begin with the latest national political updates. The government has implemented a new contribution-based social security scheme with an aim to transform the social security sector. The contribution-based social security scheme has gone into effect from yesterday following Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's announcement at a special event organized by the Ministry for Labour, Employment and Social Security in the capital. The Federation of Nepalese Chambers of Commerce and Industries, Confederation of Nepalese Industries and Nepal Chamber of Commerce have all supported the scheme. Based on the scheme, any employee with 15 years of working experience at a private organization will be eligible for pension. However, to be eligible for the pension, the employee will need to deposit 11% of the basic salary and the employer will need to contribute an additional 20% social security in the social security account on an annual basis. The fund will implement 4 plans with immediate effect. In doing so, apart from the pension facility, employees contributing to the Social Security Fund will receive medical facilities, accident and disability security, dependent security and old age security. The government has started listing names of the employers within the Kathmandu Valley to implement the scheme. The Social Security Fund has 20 billion rupees at the moment and has stated that the employers will need to list out their employees within 3 months of registering themselves in the employer's list and then start collecting the contribution amount to implement the social security scheme. The work permit issued by the government for foreign employment has been ill-managed. Service seekers aspiring for foreign employment have been queuing in line for hours at the Department of Foreign Employment under the Labour Ministry only to return empty-handed. Some service seekers have complained that they have been making rounds of the department since 3 days.
हिजोदेखि लाइनमा बसेको छौं हिजो भने हिजो हुन्छ भने हिजो जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ कुपन पाइएन लास्टमा कुपन पाइयो कुपन पाइसकेपछि उनले भन्छ धम्की दिएर त गर जा टिकट एक्सचेन्ज गर हामीले न सर हामी गरिब हो हामीसँग कम्पनीले यस्तो भन्छ इनकेस हामी टिकट एक्सचेन्ज गर्यो अनि वहाँ गएर कम्पनीले निकाल्दिन्छ भन्दाखेरि उनीहरूले दादागिरी देखाए त्यो मेरो समस्या हैन तेरो समस्या तेरो बाउको समस्या हो त्यो गर भने भित्रको औले भन्नुभयो
10-20 मा मेरो फ्लाइट छ 7 बजे 8 बजे एयरपोर्ट छिर्नु पर्यो 7 बजे अनि हिजो आको कुपन पनि नपाएको.
However, the department has cited the increase in the number of service seekers returning after the festive season of Dasai and Tihar as the reason for the slack.
श्रम स्वीकृतिमा सहजीकरण गर्न त्यस्तो खासै कठिनाइ त केहीमा छैन. अहिले चाहिँ दशैं तिहार चाडपर्वमा विदेशमा रहने साथीहरु चाहिँ नेपाल आफ्नो घर फर्कने र यहाँबाट चाहिँ फर्किँदाखेरि अलि संख्या बढी देखिँदाखेरि चाहिँ अलिकति त्यहाँ चाहिँ असहज जस्तो देखिया छ. तर अब हामी मन्त्रालय विभाग ताहाचल काठमाडौँ कार्यालय सबै सँगै बसेर समन्वय गरेरै काम चाहिँ गरिराखेका छौं.
The Department of Foreign Employment is yet to take any initiative to ease the process. Even the security personnel are having complications in managing the workers who reach the department at midnight. The Indian infrastructural company GMR sold the much-touted Upper Mersang Dihadapa project to a Chinese company after being unable to move forward the project works. The Indian construction giant pulled out of the project after occupying its license for years, towards which the Parliamentary Committee has expressed its serious concern. Lawmakers speaking at the Finance Committee's meeting yesterday afternoon demanded provision to scrap the license of any company that is unsuccessful to accomplish the project works. The Indian company GMR had attained the construction license of the hydropower project around 12 years ago at the cost of 2 million rupees. The parliamentary committee has started investigation after the company sold the license to the Chinese Sichuan investment company at 20 million rupees. Speaking at the meeting, the lawmakers said that the lack of effective evaluation of capacity and financial status of construction companies before granting them license has led to the current scenario. On the one hand, the government didn't evaluate before granting the permission, while on the other, no monitoring was conducted with regard to the project activity. The project thus failed to move forward even in 10 years in the pretext of preliminary assessment. The high-ranking officials of the Finance Ministry, Nepal Rashtra Bank and Investment Board present at the meeting, however, denied handing over ownership of the project, but only its share. The lawmakers nonetheless argue that this would entirely mean granting construction license to the Indian company. The trend of foreign companies occupying licenses of huge development projects and later reaping interest by selling the same permit without accomplishing any work has prevailed in recent days. Experts are of the view that such a practice should be stopped through a stern legal provision. Otherwise, the construction company's high-handedness in this regard would continue to keep the country's development prospect in limbo in the coming days as well. We've got more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break. The provincial governments have started preparing to recruit staff on their own as the federal government has failed to deploy employees at the provincial and local levels based on the recent postings. The provincial governments have moved forward the process of recruiting staff on contract basis by formulating laws. The move is likely to increase administrative challenges in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Sudur Paschim or Far Western Province government has formed a task force to undergo groundworks with regard to appointing the staff. The provincial government has, however, already formulated law paving way to recruit staff on its own. The provincial governments have said that they were compelled to hire staff on contract basis due to the failure to spend the development budget because of the lack of staff. Around 22,000 employees are required at the provincial levels. The government, however, has not been able to deploy even half of the required employees. On the other hand, most of the employees at the center have been rendered jobless. Meanwhile, the government is preparing to issue an ordinance aimed at easing the employees' integration process. The draft of the ordinance is currently under consideration at the Council of Ministers. The federal government has stated that the provincial government's attempt to recruit staff on their own is wrong, while the center has already been setting up procedure in this regard. The failure of the provincial governments to carry out efficient service delivery and development works is evident. However, the appointment of staff under contract is likely to lead to political influence during recruitment, and the management of staff would itself be a challenge in the coming days. The move is also likely to affect the central government's attempt to integrate the staff. Experts are of the view that the federal government should therefore expedite the deployment of staff as per the recently determined postings to prevent any hassles. We've got more news coming up, but right now it is time for another short break. Welcome back. The Survey Department of Damak in Japa has said it has so far transferred the data of only 1,500 maps out of the 11,000 into digital format. As a result, many survey seekers have been facing difficulty. In this context, we had asked the survey seekers at the Survey Department in Damak what difficulties had they been facing at the office. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
सेवाग्राहीलाई चाहिँ एक दिनमा हुने काम 3 दिनसम्म पनि भोग्नु परेको छ। अब पैसा खाएर पनि गर्ने काम त हुन सक्छ नि। अब देशव्यापी रूपमै तल्लो तहबाट माथिल्लो तहसम्मै अब खाइरहेका छन्। पैसा नखाइ त काम कहीँ पनि हुँदैन।
प्राविधिक नभएर एक दिनको काम 2 दिन कहिलेकाहीँ 3 दिन पनि लाग्छ।
साधारण मान्छेले चाहिँ काम लिएर आउँदाखेरि एकदम शास्ति छ। नयाँ मान्छेले त यहाँ कामै गर्न सक्दैन हैन। कोही पक्रिनै पर्छ, पक्रियो भने काम भयो, नत्र भने हुँदैन।
पास गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ सारै झ्याउ भयो। 3 दिन लगातार, एक दिन शनिबार पर्यो, त्यहाँबाट 3 दिन लगातार गरेर पास गरियो।
नाइन्जेलसम्म चाहिँ नि काम एकैछिनमा सकाइदिन्छु 5 मिनेट भित्रमा भनेर भन्ने हैन, र आइसकेपछि झुल्याउने क्यास खोज्ने 50-60 हजार खोज्ने, सानो एउटा अक्षरको लागि 50-60 हजार खोज्ने।
हामीले यहाँ नक्सा निकाल्नको लागि लाइनमा लागेका छौँ। अब कर्मचारी पर्याप्त हुने हो भनेदेखि फटाफट काम हुन्थ्यो होला, तर कर्मचारी अभाव भयो भनेदेखि यो समस्या सबैले आउँदो रहेछ।
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what should be done to ease the labor permit process? Your options are A. Manage online process. Option B is open offices at provincial level. And the final option, option C, is conduct regular monitoring. The voting is on. You can type any WS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let us move on to some sports news.
Sports news.
Defending champions Real Madrid have secured their berth at the knockout round of the UEFA Champions League. Juventus, Manchester City and Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Roma and Ajax have also progressed to the last 16. Real Madrid registered a 2-0 win over Roma in the Group G match played last night. First half of the match had ended in a goalless draw, but Gareth Bale capitalized on Roma's defensive error to score in the 47th minute. Lucas Vasquez then found the net in the 59th minute to seal the 2-0 win for Los Blancos. Real Madrid are the only team to reach the knockout round of the Champions League since the format was introduced in 2004-05. Meanwhile, Roma have also progressed to the next round despite their loss, as CSKA Moscow suffered a 2-1 defeat against Viktoria Plzeň in Russia. Elsewhere, Juventus brushed aside Valencia 1-0. Paulo Dybala, Mario Mandzukic and Cristiano Ronaldo had failed to score in the first half of the match, but Mandzukic converted Cristiano's pass in the 59th minute to score the only goal of the match. In another match, Manchester United struggled to secure an injury time win against Young Boys, which meant Valencia crashed out from the group stages. Marouane Fellaini scored in the dying seconds of additional time, which saw manager Jose Mourinho's outrageous reaction at the touchline. Manchester City, meanwhile, were held at a 2-2 draw by Lyon. Maxwell Cornet scored a brace for Lyon as he found the net in the 55th and the 81st minute, while Laporte and Sergio Aguero were on the score sheet for Pep Guardiola's side. Struggling in the domestic league, Bayern Munich were a different side in the Champions League as they crushed Benfica 5-1. Arjen Robben and Robert Lewandowski both scored braces for the German Giants. Meanwhile, Ajax of AEK Athens 2-0. Two matches under the Martyrs Memorial A Division League are slated for today. Machindra Club take on Himalayan Sherpa in the first match of the day, scheduled for an 11 a.m. kickoff at Anpa Complex, Sadobato. Machindra are yet to register their first win at the ongoing league as they have 2 points from 3 matches. Machindra shared points with Chasal Youth Club and Nepal Police Club while they suffered a 2-0 defeat against Sankata. In quite a sharp contrast, Himalayan Sherpa have 7 points from 3 matches. Having played a draw with APF, Sherpa saw off Saraswati 1-0 while they secured a 2-1 win against Jalakhel. The second match of the league today will see Friends take on Jalakhel Youth Club at Anfa Complex and is scheduled to kick off at 2:30 p.m. Both the sides are yet to open their accounts in the points table. The matches played yesterday under the A Division League saw Saraswati win 2-1 against Brigade Boys and Manang Marsangdi see off APF by the same scoreline. Manang Marsangdi Club leads the table with 4 wins from 4 matches, which translates to 12 points. Departmental teams and familiar rivals through an Army and Armed Police Force are set to contest at the grand finale of the 6th edition of the Chief of Army Staff International Women's Invitational Football Tournament. The title decider is scheduled for a 1:30 p.m. kickoff at the Army headquarters in Vadrakhali. APF progressed to the grand finale after winning against Nepal Police Club, while Army had seen off Province too. APF will take the field with the ambition of winning the title for the 4th time. They had won the last 2 editions by seeing off Army in the finals. Army have not won the title since the 2nd edition and will aim to avenge their past 2 losses. It is the second clash of the year between APF and Army. APF had won against Army in the Women's League, which was held 4 months ago. Winners of the grand finale will bag 300,000 rupees, while the runners-up will be awarded 100,000 rupees in cash prize. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Government announces contribution-based social security scheme that allows pension facilities to private company employees. Implementation aspect very crucial. Department of Foreign Employment mired in irregularities and negligence. Service seekers having a hard time in receiving and extending labor permits. Lawmakers demand annulment of the license of contractors failing to move ahead development projects. Call to discourage the practice of selling license to others for reaping undue interests. And Real Madrid, Manchester City, United and Juventus progressed to the knockout round of the UEFA Champions League. Bayern Munich, Roma and Ajax also in the last 16. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.